Oh, hoy there, goobers. Welcome to Create and Destroy. I'm your host, Dan Donnarumma, and this is episode number 21. Before we delve into who my guest is for today's episode, I'd like to first start by saying I absolutely hate the winter. It sucks so much, and one of the worst parts about winter is that I don't get to watch baseball. So I love baseball. I grew up playing baseball. I grew up watching baseball with my brothers and my dad. I'm a big Yankees fan, and yesterday was the first day that position players reported to camp for spring training. So I am so goddamn happy because baseball is right around the corner along with spring and summer, and I can't wait for baseball to return, for warm weather, so I could not only watch baseball and go to some games, but also camp, hike, and do all the things that I love to do during the summer. So hell freaking yeah, and I hope the Yankees have an awesome freaking season. I'm super pissed that the Yanks didn't sign Harper or Machado, and that's a conversation for another day, but goddamn, they would have been so freaking good if they signed one of those players. All right, enough about me being a nerd. Let's get into who my guest is for today's episode. My guest is Mike Rocheford of House of Harm. I discovered House of Harm sometime last spring, last summer. Tyler Kershaw of Funeral Advantage, he had posted a video from one of House of Harm's sets, and whatever song it was, I think it was Isolator, but I'm not entirely sure. I thought it was freaking awesome, and I went and listened to House of Harm and immediately was hooked on their music. After that, I wound up listening to House of Harm a shit ton. At the end of the year, Spotify sends people the stats on, the stuff that they listen to. And my top 5 songs were, 4 of them were Midwife, and then the other song was Isolator by House of Harm. That song was my goddamn summer jam. I listened to it so much. I would get out of work and immediately put that song on, and then I would also listen to it a ton while I was at work. If my wife and I were going on a trip somewhere, Isolator would get put on that playlist along with several other House of Harm songs. Their music is just really awesome. It's new wave synth pop stuff, and it's just solid pop music. Really fun and really enjoyable to listen to. I love to get down with heavy music and depressing music, but I also really enjoy upbeat music and pop music, and House of Harm is just such a great mixture of dancey new wave pop music, so it's just the perfect combination of what I want to hear. At this point, they've released a demo. At the end of last year, they released an EP called Coming of Age, which is really great. They released Isolator as a single, and then Night Vision released their demo with Isolator on it, so as a self-titled release. They've yet to release an LP. Mike and I talked about that, so hopefully that's something that down the line we can get to listen to, but at this point, like I said, demo and some singles, and then the Coming of Age EP, which is really, really great. Highly recommend it. So Mike and I talked about House of Harm. We talked about the band, their music. We also talked about his tattoos. He's got a bunch of cool ass tattoos, and he's been tattooed by some really renowned and talented tattooers. I've been into tattoos for a very long time. My dad has a bunch of tattoos, and so when I was younger, I would look at his tattoos and I thought they were the coolest freaking thing, and then going to hardcore shows, you'd see some really cool tattoos, and when I got to a point where I could finally start getting tattooed, I wound up getting a really shitty one, and Mike and I kind of talked about that, and then I started doing some research and coming across some solid tattooers, and once I found the guy that I wanted to get tattooed by, Dan Santoro, I've been getting tattooed by him since then, and I love that style of like American traditional Americana tattoos, and it's not often that I get to meet someone that, number one, shares that same interest in that style of tattoos, but then number 2, also he's getting tattooed by some people who are really renowned for their craft and what it is they're doing. So whenever I get to talk to people about tattoos, it always makes me excited. And so Mike and I, we talked about his tattoos, some of the tattooers he's gotten tattooed by, and then I also share some insight and some stories on my tattoos. Speaking of, I'm getting tattooed next month, and it's going to be like right after the Flenser Showcase shows in Brooklyn, so I cannot wait. I'm super excited to get tattooed. All right, enough of me yammering on. Here's my conversation with Mike Rocheford of House of Harm. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Not bad. I was super excited when we scheduled this interview because House of Harm is fucking awesome, but also when I was lurking your Instagram, I saw a bunch of sweet tattoos that I'm seeing right now, and I was super excited to talk to you about tattoos because you have a bunch of awesome tattoos, and it looks like from a bunch of really cool tattooers, and I think I might have saw a Rich Hadley shirt in one of your photos as well.
Yes.
Do you remember the first tattoo that you got and who did it?
The first tattoo I got was when I was 15 at a shop in Florida. I got the Cure Wish logo on my shoulder when I was 15. At midnight, walked in and got it.
How the hell did you talk the person into tattooing you?
Me and my dad and I went in there. He had tattoos, and he always said when I was younger, when you're 16, I'll take you to get a tattoo and stuff like that. And I was almost 16. I think I was like 2 months away. He said, we didn't live together, so he said, oh, we're together now, so for your 16th birthday, I'll take you now. We walked in the shop, and he said, this is what my son wants, and he said, all right, $130, and I got it.
Dude, that's awesome. Do you remember the name of the guy or the girl that tattooed you?
No, I don't. No clue.
What made you want to get tattoos?
Just being young and dumb, I guess. I shouldn't say dumb, but I think they're cool looking.
Did your dad have a bunch of cool tattoos or no?
Yeah, he has some good tattoos.
My dad is a schmuck. He I can't remember the name of the dude that he got tattooed by. It was a well-known guy in Brooklyn in like the 70s or the 80s that he got tattooed by.
Yep.
And then the idiot went and got them all covered up by some terrible tattooer, and they look like shit.
Yeah, that sucks. I wish if I could go back, I'd have way less tattoos. I'd probably just get one on each arm or something like that. But
really?
Now that I have a lot, I'll just get some more.
So what makes you like wish you had less tattoos?
In a weird way, like now that I do like my music and stuff for art, just like what you just said. So now, you found me, or whoever, we start talking because of my band and stuff like that, and then you see me and I'm wearing a lot of other people's art on my skin. And I almost wish I didn't have that, because now you see me say, oh shit, Rich Hadley, yada yada yada. And I kind of, it's weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain, I guess. It's not like that I dislike them. I like them for sure. I think if I could go back, I would just have fewer of them.
That's very interesting, dude. So like as soon as I started getting tattoos, I knew immediately like I want to get as many tattoos as possible. Like my goal is to just be completely covered in tattoos. Yeah,
that's, I think, you want to get filled up quick. Like I said, I got tattooed when I was like 15. I got another one when I was like 16. Same type of situation, just kind of not good stuff. It wasn't until I was probably like 21 that I started getting like good tattoos. I had already gotten some stuff on my arms. This is from kind of random people. I wouldn't say scratches, but not sought out. My first like good tattoo I got was from Chad Kolpinger. He's based out of Nashville, but he kind of travels a lot.
Yeah, dude, his tattoos are awesome.
Yeah, and then I started getting tattooed a lot by this guy named Ryan Metz from Massachusetts. Now he works at Greenpoint in New York. I haven't seen him in a long time, and then in between that, I've gotten tattooed by Rich Hadley twice, Austin Maples, Mark Cross, Mike Adams did my hands, and this girl had Ryan Schaefer, Chris Marchetto.
Yeah, dude, I saw in one of your photos, I saw that you had tagged Austin Maples. So I've been getting tattooed by Dan Santoro for like 7 years or so now, and I just feel very comfortable getting tattooed by him, and I love his style, so I probably wouldn't get tattooed by anyone else. The only other tattooer I think at this point that I'd be willing to get tattooed by is Austin Maples. That dude's stuff is freaking insane.
Yep, I got tattooed by him in that Mooncusser Tattoo in Cape Cod. I think it was like 2014 maybe. They had like a 1 year anniversary party for the shop, and they came out and I got this little angel thing here.
Yeah, dude,
like
that's
$100.
awesome.
Yeah, we just went in and just got wasted. They just had a ton of, the shop is really, really cool. Just had a ton of beer and food, and we just went there and just partied all day and got tattooed. So
what's your most recent tattoo that you've gotten?
My most recent one is actually I got tattooed by Rich Hadley for the second time. I got
sweet.
that in November. I actually kind of took me out of tattoo retirement because I haven't been tattooed for almost 2 years, up until 2 months ago. I stopped getting tattooed. I was investing my time and money into music and stuff like that because obviously, as you know, it's a big dedication, and I kind of wanted to get out of that because I was getting tattooed every month and kind of, I wouldn't say getting obsessed, but it just, once you start doing it, it's like, oh, the next one. And I kind of just gave myself a break from it. And then once I didn't get tattooed for like 6 months and then a year, I was kind of like, oh man, just out of it, But then randomly, because Rich is he was from the UK, and then recently he moved to Las Vegas. He's tattooing out of there. And then all of a sudden he said, I'm going to be in New Hampshire for like 2 days. So I was like, what the fuck? So I got an appointment up there and got tattooed by him. The first time was I got tattooed by him in 2013, I want to say, in Chicago. He was there for like a month, just living in Chicago randomly, and then me and my buddy flew out there to get tattooed by him.
Aside from your arms, do you have any other spots tattooed?
Yeah, I have like a in progress full back piece by that kid Ryan Metz. I haven't worked on it in more than 2 years, but yeah, it's like a big cover up of covering up older stuff, but it's a work in progress, I guess. I got like my arm.
So let me first ask you, what's the back piece of?
Basically, I had some stuff when I was younger. I had like a sugar skull and some roses, and I had that My Cure tattoo, and I just wanted one big tattoo, so I just did a blast over of an eagle and a snake.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
How bad was the back or parts of the back?
That wasn't too bad. Definitely not the worst. For me, I think I have a kind of a low pain tolerance. Then the more tattoos you get, the more they hurt, in my opinion. So I'll kind of get in the zone for about like an hour or so. After like 2 hours, that starts kind of wearing at you, for me anyway. You know, I've sat for many hours, but at this point, I can't sit for more than 2 hours. Because you just lose the adrenaline, you know what I mean? There's nothing, you just go in there and it's just, here we go again, and you just kind of fight it, the more tattoos you get, in my opinion.
I 100% agree with you, man. I feel like as I've gotten older, I become more and more of a baby. Like, some of the tattoos I've done, I've sit for like 4 or 5 hours, sometimes even longer than that. And now once I start to get into like this 2 hour mark, I'm just like, oh, this fucking sucks, man. I just want this to be over.
Yeah, you just start fighting it. Once you're out of the groove, you know what I mean? Because usually, for me anyway, I'm sure you can relate, it's just like the first couple of minutes, like, all right, getting used to it. And then you can kind of get in a groove where I can almost like, when I was getting my back worked on, like almost I wouldn't say fall asleep, but you just get into like a zone where you're kind of just blocking everything out and just kind of sitting there, and it's not really affecting you as much. But then as soon as you may, get up and take a break and then just have to sit back down and do it all over again, it's like fighting it again. But for me, it's like the 2 hour mark is I'm done.
Yeah, man, especially like if you're sitting and they're taking breaks and then you gotta like wait for them to get back to tattooing, and be like, that sucks so much.
Exactly. It's like starting all over again,
Yeah, dude.
It's wiping you down, it's cold and sensitive. I can feel it now.
What's been one of the worst spots for you to get tattooed?
The worst definitely was I got my armpit tattooed. That was by far the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I wanted to do it just because I kept thinking of how bad it would hurt, and I'm not like some kind of weird I don't know, pain junkie or anything like that. I've seen it done a few times, and I think it's a cool spot to do. And I kept on thinking in my head, like, that'd probably hurt so bad, I don't know if I could do it. And I just kept thinking about it. And one day, the tattooer who did it, that dude, Ryan Metz, I was pretty comfortable with him because he's tattooed me a lot and stuff. So I was like, let's just give this a shot. And he's like, if you're down, I'm down. And I think I chugged like 3 beers. And then I'm like, all right, let's fucking do this. And then I sat down, and like the first line in, instantly sobered. It was like a knife cutting you open in the most sensitive area of your body. It was really, really wild. It was the one tattoo where I almost couldn't finish it. I was I was like, dude, I don't think I can do it. And he's like, no, we're almost there. And I was like really ready to call it quits and not care. It was really bad.
I haven't gotten tattooed in my armpit, but I've got a snake head like right underneath my armpit. And that surprisingly, that was without a doubt the easiest tattoo I've gotten. I don't know if it's just that spot wasn't tender for me. It also wasn't in my armpit, but that spot was just a breeze for me.
As you get tattooed by different people too, you realize everyone has, some people have a really heavy hand and some people don't. That dude Chad Kolpinger has a really heavy hand for me, so even this spot right here, it shouldn't be that hard of a spot, but for him, he just goes so hard. Mike Adams has a really, really light hand.
Of all the tattoos that you have, what's your favorite tattoo?
Probably, I like this little butterfly here. I have this butterfly from Mark Cross, a small one. Actually, I have one on the back of my head that I always forget about. That's a really good one. You can't really quite see it. It's just like a girl head with butterfly wings. I got it from this guy named Morten Transith. He's from Norway.
Yeah, dude, his stuff is awesome. So, dude, you've gotten tattooed by a lot of really fucking good tattooers, man.
Yeah, I was really dedicated for a while and just really, doing the whole thing.
Was the back of your head rough or no?
Yeah, not so much like crazy full-on pain. It was just like really disorienting, like when because you had your head face down on a massage table, and then when you pick your head up, you had to I had to sit there for like a few minutes. I couldn't stand up because it was really kind of disorienting feeling. But there's like a bone like right in back of your ear. It's like that spot was the worst, but on the head it wasn't crazy, but it was just really disorienting.
So I know you had mentioned that you kind of wish maybe you didn't get as many tattoos as you have now, but is there any one that you have that you're like, this tattoo sucks, or I don't like this tattoo?
Yeah, this arm right here, this bottom half, I wish I didn't have. I'll go over it eventually. I mean, I don't stress on it by any means. If you're into tattoos and you have every tattoo is a perfect whatever tattoo, it's like, yeah, dude, probably not that into tattoos because it's kind of a thing that happens over time. You get tattooed and you figure it out as you go along. But I don't think about it.
I get asked that question a bunch. The first tattoo I ever got was terrible. I got an anchor tattoo in Syracuse. It was like a Friday the 13th thing. I couldn't even tell you the name of the shop. I couldn't tell you who the fuck the tattooer was. I went there and I had him do the anchor on my Achilles. And I'm so glad I did it because it got me into tattooing. And I realized it's not as bad as I thought it would be. But the moment I took the bandage off, I was like, oh my God, this tattoo fucking sucks.
I hate Friday the 13th tattoos more than anything. I think they look so stupid and it's like, just go get tattooed for real. Like, don't get tattooed in a budget, you know?
Yep. Never did. I would never do that ever again.
And I get the spur of the moment where it's, you know, people who might not get tattooed too often or whatever, and say, oh, you know, they're doing it right now, we can walk in and get a tattoo, but you still realize you can do that anyway. You just make an appointment and then walk in and go do it and get where you really want.
It's funny, man, because like when I got that tattoo, it like, I don't know what the fuck that guy was doing.
But maybe, I know tattooers kind of hate doing those things. They just do it for quick money. Maybe it's like, fuck this kid.
I would not be surprised, dude. So like, luckily enough, I got it fixed, and I got it like worked into another tattoo I have on my leg. So it's not bad anymore. But yeah, dude, like I'm glad I got that tattoo because one, I realized, all right, tattoos they don't hurt that bad. Two, it made me start researching tattooers and like trying to find tattooers that knew what the hell they were doing, as opposed to just being like, I'm gonna go wherever and get a tattoo.
And you think, not knowing that, you know, you give them a picture like, oh, they can do this, and you get home and you're like, oh, they can't do that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to kind of realize that because you don't want to admit that you have a shitty tattoo. Yeah. It just kind of builds up in your mind.
I can fucking talk about tattoos all day long, but let's switch gears. Let's start talking about your music in House of Harm. So House of Harm, it's you and Cooper Leardi. Is that how you pronounce their last name?
Yep.
Okay. And when did you guys start getting together to work on the songs that would become House of Harm?
We were playing in a band together. I was playing bass, he was playing guitar for a few years up until it's going to be almost 2 years at this point. But that band ended, and like right away we're like, all right, we're starting a new band. Kind of had to figure it out quick, like what our roles were going to be. And then I knew I wanted to be the singer because Cooper has his own project called Shy Talk that he sings for. And I had a lot of songs that I had written myself for over the last few years that I was keeping to myself when the time was right, type of thing. So then right away we started jumping in and kind of got in our groove. It took probably about a year for us to really figure out who we are as a band, I guess. You know, I had some songs that I wrote a few years before that I was just keeping for myself, and we reworked some of those, like Always was one of them. Coming of Age actually was one of them, and we kind of wrote some new ones and brought some old ones to life, and just kind of took off from there.
And what year was this?
It must have been 2017, yeah.
And then you guys released your demo right around not too long after that?
Yeah, we started writing, and then our debut was just that demo. So do you see when that demo was released?
June 2017. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, so we started writing at the beginning of summer. We started recording that demo at the beginning of the summer, and then we released it halfway through. So that was the start of the band. It was really, really quick because we were kind of like, shit, you know, we invested a bunch of time in another band. It didn't work out, and then we were kind of really excited to kind of do things our way. So we started writing and recording, and then just dropped the demo, and that was like, here's the band, here's the demo, and that's what it is. And then a few months after that, we recorded Isolator, and then just put it out as a single, just like an internet single. And then after that, we've been writing songs, and we were actually going to put out the last EP that we just did. It wasn't really supposed to be an EP. We were supposed to do the song Valentine was going to be a single, and then we were waiting for some press, and we were waiting for this dude who was going to get us some press or whatever. So we kind of put off releasing it, and then as time went on, we had some other songs, and then we just like, fuck it, let's just do like an EP. And I just hit up these two labels that we were friendly with, and they're like, yeah, we'll put it out, sure. And then we just recorded it real quick, and then we dropped that in November. So a little more than a year after we started, yeah.
How did you come up with the name House of Harm?
Our friend Cam actually kind of named us. We were toying with different ideas for names because it's really, really fucking hard to get a good band name, in my opinion anyway. And then our friend had thought of this name, and he said, oh, you guys should be called House of Harm. And then we said, thought about it for a minute, and then it all clicked, and we said, yeah, we'll be House of Harm. And then, yeah, I think it's really hard to find a good fucking band name.
Yeah,
but I think we got a pretty good one. So. And
what made you and Cooper want to make a band that's essentially like a new wave, dark wave, kind of like synth pop sort of band?
That's the songs that I've always written. You know, like I said, I grew up. My favorite band was The Cure, and listening to stuff like that. I've been writing these songs by myself since I was like 14, even younger actually. But just not. I had that one project that I released called See in the Dark, like in 2012 or whatever, but I was kind of scared to really push it and be a singer, you know, and take the next step. I'm not sure if you sing yourself for bands, but it's, you know, mentally it can be really kind of intimidating. So I kind of didn't quite do it, wasn't really ready. I wanted to get good shows, but I didn't know how to do it in Boston and stuff like that. And then after playing in other people's bands, basically playing bass, I kind of figured a lot of stuff out. And then when that band that we were in ended, I was like, all right, I'm ready to do my own shit. All these songs I've been writing over the last few years, I had a lot to work with. So we started from there. That's all the songs that I've written since I started writing songs, I guess.
So two things from what you just said. One, what about singing or making this type of music with you being the vocalist was intimidating for you?
It's a scary thing to do, to get and sing in front of people, you know, and you kind of, you know, write songs, record it, but be scared to put it out because you feel embarrassed or whatever. And then I knew I wanted to do it, and then I was like, I want to be a front person of a band. I wanted to just sing live, even though obviously I write all the music, but live I wanted to be like a strong front person. And then one day, I remember when we got our first show, I was like super nervous. My heart dropped as soon as it was booked, because you kind of get into it like, you're writing the songs like, yeah, we're gonna play a show, and we had already played decent sized shows, and not for me, not singing, but just around, so I was fairly comfortable playing on stage and stuff. I remember that as soon as the show was confirmed, my heart just kind of dropped. It's like, shit, I really have to do this now. I gotta get up there and sing in front of these people, these fucking stupid songs that I write in my room. And then the first show was good. I was really nervous, but I could do it. I was like, I think I can do this. And by show like 3, it's just now I don't have any nerves. It's really, really enjoyable for me. And once something clicks in your head, it's like, I can fucking do this. It's a great
That's
feeling.
Awesome,
yeah.
man. What was the name of the band that you were playing in before House of Harm?
We were called Burglary Years.
And what style of music was that?
Kind of like dreamy type of rock stuff. Like, no, I wouldn't say like nothing synthy or anything, but more like kind of dreamy guitars, like I don't know, stuff like that. I wasn't like a founding member of the band. I just joined because they had a bunch of lineup changes, and I became friendly with the people in the band, and then they needed a bass player, and I played bass. I said, yeah, I'll fill in for a little bit, and we did that for about a year maybe. But it was more so me just playing other people's songs. I did my own thing with it for sure, but it wasn't truly satisfying on a musical level. But it was really good for me because I learned how to book shows and how to get good shows and how the way things work as far as that goes. And in Boston, got a lot of time playing on stage and playing in basements and stuff like that, and got really comfortable.
And so that helped you in a big way then when it came time to start, I guess, promoting House of Harm or booking shows, shit like that?
Absolutely, yeah. And then just I met a ton of people, from playing in bands. Like that band, I was playing in another band before that too. But I just met a ton of people, musicians and stuff like that. Whereas before, I didn't know anyone in Boston. I'm from like Worcester area. I had some friends that moved out here. But I wanted to start making music and hanging out with people who made music, like played music and stuff, and kind of somehow it all worked out well because I did what I wanted to do. So
was it ever intimidating or like stressful for you to play bass in a band that was started by someone else?
Not for that reason. It was stressful just because when you have to play bass and your hand shakes and you're nervous in front of, don't want to screw up and stuff like that. But I didn't really care about who wrote it before. I just did my own thing. So
I know you had mentioned The Cure being like one of your favorite bands. Who would you say has been one of the bigger or biggest influences and inspirations in the music that you've made for House of Harm?
I don't know. Obviously our it's more so production, you know what I mean? What I care about is, I think we just write pop songs with kind of big choruses and harmonies and stuff like that, and it's just the production choices that we make is what makes it have that sound, Our guitar tones, or the way our drums sound and stuff like that. That's what, in my opinion, gives us our sound. I think we just write just kind of pop songs, I guess. But obviously, I grew up on that type of stuff, so it'll always be there for sure. But I don't know. I
think you might be writing some of my favorite, because you do write pop songs, but there's a quality, there's something to the music that you put out that even though they're pop songs, they're just like hook me like no other band is currently doing right now. You've got a style about you that is awesome as hell, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean that's. I think for me, what I try to achieve when writing a song is like getting that happy, sad type of thing. I'm not sure if you can really describe it, but that's what does it for me, getting that kind of happy, sad thing and just conveying my emotion, It's put a lot of emotion into the songs. And then once I get kind of like a melody, like a instrumental hook, if you will, you know what I mean? That's what does it for me. And then the bass line, it's like, all right, there's a start, and then just finish it up with the words and there's a song, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure that there are probably bands in this genre that I haven't heard of, but I feel like House of Harm, like when I listen to House of Harm, I feel like it's totally transplanted me back into like music of the 80s, and I feel like the music that you're making is is really representative of like new wave music. I know there's a lot of dark wave stuff that's out right now, but I feel like your music, I would almost describe it more as new wave than dark wave. And like I said, I feel like it really brings me back to like the 80s when I listen to that music.
Yeah, I agree. I know there's a lot of stuff where guys or bands or whatever are making songs, and a lot of solo acts, and then or like two people bands, whatever, and it's just kind of heavy synth stuff, dark kind of free form songwriting where it just kind of builds up and builds up. I think our songs are pretty traditional in the sense where we have choruses and verses and bridges and stuff like that, which is different than a lot of the like I said, the dark wave stuff that's out there now. But yeah, it's all in the production, in my opinion. It's the way our guitars sound, the way our drums sound. The songs could be transcribed in any other production, and I think it'd still be a good song. That's what makes it for me, We just put a bunch of 80s sounds on it and put it out there.
So it's you and Cooper that are writing the music. Is it just you guys that are performing your music when you guys play, or do you have other people that play with you guys?
Yeah, we do. We have our buddy Tyler that He's playing with us now, which has been really, really, really enjoyable, because it's tough when you're kind of figure out how to perform songs as a two-piece. And we started just as a two-piece, playing live, and then it's kind of using tracks and stuff like that. It's like you can do it so many different ways as far as splitting up the parts goes and who's going to play what. And I would play more keyboards and stuff like that. And then my buddy Andy, who played, like drum machines, he would play keyboards and drum machines on and off, and then that wasn't quite working out. And then Tyler started playing just guitar, because our new stuff had a lot of guitar on it, and I didn't want to play guitar live because I wanted to just focus on singing. So he started joining because we really needed someone to play guitar, and then he just kind of filled in the rest with keyboards, and it's going really well. So
when you and Cooper are writing the music, you're singing, you're playing guitar as well when you guys are writing stuff?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much how it starts is we kind of write on our own. I have mostly how I write songs is in my keyboard. I have like a sequencer, like a 16-track MIDI recorder keyboard that I've had forever that I wrote a lot of stuff on, and I can record the drums and bass line and get kind of like a keyboard hook or whatever, or get the foundation of a song. When I have something I think is good, I'll kind of say, all right, Cooper, let's get this working. We'll put it into like the real recording thing in the real computer and build it from there, That's how most songs start.
For you, like when you're writing a song, do you ever think about how you're going to perform it? Tyler and the other person that you had mentioned plays, was it Andy?
Yeah. Yep.
They said performs with you guys. Are you thinking, all right, I'm going to have them do this and I could just focus on singing, or is that something that you don't even really think about?
Yeah, it comes way later. When we're writing songs and stuff like that, it's really kind of in the zone. Like, we get a lot of pleasure out of recording the songs and writing the songs, because how we do things, we're not a band that can sit in a room and kind of figure it out as we go along, because we don't have a real drummer, we don't have a real whatever. So us writing the songs is actually like recording them and doing it, recording as we go along. That's how we write. And I love recording. I have a great time doing it. I just want to make the song as good as it can be. I don't think about how we're going to do it live by any means. That comes later. But that's also fun in its own right,
Interesting. So, like, do you find the way that you guys write, do you find there to be challenges with that? Do you find there to be advantages to that method?
Definitely both. The challenges is it can be very tedious to kind of, make a drum part and then copy it, and then it just doesn't quite. It's a lot. Sometimes writing songs, it's easier when you're in a room with someone, then you can just jam, and go into a jam and feel it naturally. You lose a little bit of that when you're kind of working on a computer, but at the same time too, I like writing songs by myself too. You know what I mean? I don't have to listen to anyone else and do their ideas. I can just kind of get focused and do my thing. I get lazy though. When I'll work on a part, but usually what I'll start with is like the bass line, a cool drum beat, whatever. I have an idea, I might have a vocal. Well, usually the vocal stuff comes after, but I'll have like a cool bass line thing, like a synth bass line I'm working on, and a cool like keyboard hook over that, and a good rhythm to it, and I'll kind of let it flow, and then I'll get like a verse and a chorus, and after that I'm kind of like, all right, now I kind of did my thing, because once that's there, once I have the magic there, then I'll be like, all right, cool, let's start working on this, because it can get boring if I just sat by myself and did the whole thing. So then we'll take it for real and kind of bounce ideas off each other and add stuff in. And
how often are you like working on songs or trying to write stuff?
Pretty often. I mean, our recording stuff is right in our living room. We're roommates, and we have it right in our living room. I'll play the keyboard. Maybe I'll sit down and try to work on a song, probably like 4 times a week, maybe. But a lot of times I find is if you drill into your head that you need to write something. You sit down on your keyboard, you're not going to get anything. Sometimes I need to not touch a keyboard for a week, 2 weeks. I never force myself to write songs, because I think that I've been kind of I don't know, very aware of that from the beginning. Like, I'm never going to say, I have to do this, because it's not the point. I write a song when I want to write a song. Luckily, I guess I want to do it pretty often, but when you force yourself to sit down and try to write something, usually you don't come up with anything. It's when you're kind of don't write for a while, and then you get really excited about it. You maybe have an idea in your head, and you say, oh shit, I want to get home and get this out, That's when you come up with some good stuff. Let stuff build up for a while, and then I'll sit down and just write like 3 songs in one sitting. I
love Charles Bukowski, and I watched a video of an interview that he did years ago on YouTube, and he said something that I thought was so appropriate. It was like, creativity in writing is like trying to catch a fly that's in, like, let's say in the corner of the ceiling. Like, you can't reach it, and you got to wait for the fucking fly to come down before you can kill it. And I feel like that is such a perfect like description of at least for me, like any type of creative stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah, I completely agree, for sure.
I got to talk to you about Isolator. Holy shit, man. I absolutely love that song. song, I cannot even begin to tell you how much I have listened to that song. So like,
thank you.
I told Tyler this when he and I did our interview. I found out about House of Harm from his Instagram. He posted a video of you guys playing, and I was like, oh shit, this sounds awesome. I need to check the band out. And the first song that I heard was Isolator. Just like, this is fucking incredible. And so all summer, last summer, that was like my jam. I would listen to it all the time when I would get out of work. Can you talk about that song, kind of like what inspired it, what went into writing it?
That was one where, actually, that's a song that when we made that, everything really clicked and we kind of found our groove. If you notice, it's different from our demo because, we were trying to figure things out, because even on the demo I was playing real bass for a few songs rather than the synth bass. And then once we kind of, just kind of trial and error, once we made Isolator, it was like, all right, this is our fucking sound, you know what I mean? We kind of, everything really clicked, and we were really, really proud of that song because it's, we think it's a really good song. Yeah, I remember we did the demo, and then we were kind of working on new stuff, and we're like, shit, we don't want, people to only know us from the demo. Let's just release this by itself as a single. Because we started getting some 88.1 in Boston, it's MIT's radio station. They started playing us a little bit, which is really cool. And we talked to them, on Instagram or whatever, the show that was playing us. We said, actually, would you guys want to premiere a song for us? We're gonna release it. And they said, yeah, let's just do it. So that kind of really made us, get it together quickly, and then we put it out, and it was we got really good response from that one. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that song is my goddamn jam, man. That song is seriously so good. And I saw, like, when I was preparing for our interview, I saw that Night Vision, they re-released your demo March of last year, and they replaced Welcome to the House of Harm with Isolator, right? Right,
yeah. Well, I had talked to him just through Instagram or whatever, and he was like, yo, well, you guys gonna do something, whatever, like a real release? And I said, no, not right now. And he said, if you want, I did the demo in Isolator on cassette. And I said, yeah, why not? So we just kind of made some artwork together. I kind of wanted to make it look like a bootleg, that's what it was, we already had the stuff out there. So we just put it together, and yeah, they were nice enough to release it for us.
What made you want to swap out those songs as opposed to just leaving Welcome to the House of Harm in there and then adding Isolator to the release?
I have no clue. It's probably just something like we're like, oh, fuck that one. Let's not do that. Or how many songs was it? It was.
Was it 5, 6? So I'm not even sure at this point.
Always Isolator.
Sunblind.
Snowblind, yeah, Snowblind.
Snowblind. What did I say? Sunblind,
yeah,
Snowblind.
I thought so. A total of 5. I was thinking maybe we did it because we wanted to have even number of songs on each side or something, but that's not the case because it's an odd number. But I don't really know. Probably just got sick of it. I mean, it's just a little thing we did together. We never played it live or anything.
Gotcha. You guys have released the demo. You've released the Coming of Age EP. Isolator is a single. Any plans for an LP, or is that something that maybe that you guys are working on, or something that you're going to eventually be working on?
Yeah, I mean, we're always working and stuff, but I'm just waiting for a good label or a bigger label to put it out. I wouldn't put it out ourselves or anything like that. So we're kind of just putting out these. We'll probably do a single within the next few months. Maybe just an internet single, just to kind of keep things going, and just waiting for like a good label to say, we'll put out your debut. I don't know. You can only do your first record once, and I've been very kind of protective of that, because if you put out an LP, it's like you do it yourself or whatever. You kind of say, shit, I wish we kind of took the right steps and had our debut, on a bigger label with the correct distro and the correct press. So I've been really kind of protective of our first full length. I want it to be perfect,
That's fucking smart, dude. So in November, you guys released the Coming of Age EP. How long did you and Cooper work on the songs for that release?
Actually, we were gonna do the song Valentine. That was gonna be a single. I think I was telling you that this earlier. And then we were waiting to get some press. We wanted to get like a big blog to premiere, and it was taking forever. And then we had a couple more songs. We're gonna do a single. It's going to be Valentine side A, and then Coming of Age is going to be the B side. And then we said, fuck it, let's just make a 4-song EP. And then we're like, shit, we need another song. So then we made Past Life like that weekend. We're like, shit, let's get something like that's good energy to it. And we sat down and made Past Life, which is the first song. And then we were gonna have another song because we wanted to do 4 songs. We're gonna write another one, but it wasn't quite working out for us. And then we said, screw it, let's just do Always, because I really, really love that song, and I wanted to do it more justice than the demo, because we learned a lot as far as recording goes and stuff like that over the year that it was released, because some time had gone by, and I wanted to put it out there in a better manner, I guess. So we kind of redid a lot of the stuff and polished it up a real lot, did the vocals again, so we just kept that one on there.
So I've got to be 100% honest with you, man. I totally played myself because for whatever reason over the years, I haven't been a fan of like bands re-recording and releasing songs. And so when Coming of Age came out, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't as high on it as I thought I was going to be. And then probably in like January, I said, all right, you know what, stop being an asshole. Give this EP some time. And now I think the newer version of Always is better than the demo. And I fucking love Coming of Age. So like I put out my list of favorite albums of the year. I think Coming of Age, I had it like 40s or in the 30s. Undoubtedly, like if I could redo that list, it'd be in the top 20s. Like I've been listening to that EP so goddamn much, dude. It's so good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that when you hear it all, if you were listening to Always, you know, regularly, whatever, and then you hear a new version, automatically your ears are gonna say, well, what the fuck is this? You know, it's uncomfortable, it's new, whatever. But with some time, I think, you know, people will realize, you know, it's a better version, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. And after realizing I'm a dumbass, I was like, all right, I gotta like get over this. Cause yeah, I mean, there definitely been albums or like releases over the year where I'm just like, oh, they put this song on here. This is whack. But I do think that the version of Always on Coming of Age it just sounds cleaner and crisper than the demo.
Right. Yeah, that was our intention. Just do a little more justice and, you know, make it slap a little harder, I guess, if you will.
Yeah. You guys live in Boston. What's it like for you to be an artist and a musician in Boston?
It's all right, just like anywhere else, I guess. Kind of keep to ourselves, you know, and just write the songs. What we do is kind of actually we've been really lucky where people have really been supporting us around here, which I was actually really, really surprised. I thought when we made this project, no one was gonna give a fuck and no one's gonna come to our shows. But surprisingly, we got this whole thing going where, you know, people are really coming to see us play and stuff, because there's not really any kind of bands like this in Boston. Maybe one or two, but so people who are into this type of music, which there are a lot of, they recognize that, you know. But as far as, I don't know, we don't really have many friends who are in bands, and, you know, actually we do have a couple. I shouldn't say that, but I don't know, it's a small, very small city, so it's not that exciting, I guess, but I have hope for it. I would rather be in a small city than a huge city, because you can get really drowned out. You know, if we were in New York City or LA or something like that, I think we just kind of blend in. But whereas we're in a small city and there's not much of this going on, we kind of stand out and we get a good amount of press for it, you know. I remember when we first started doing this, I was like, shit, man, we got to get over to LA. That's where all this stuff is popping off. But obviously in hindsight, realizing, like, why would I want to do that, you know? There's a million bands that are making this type of music over in LA. We can do it in Boston and be the only ones and get all the good shows, and you know what I mean? We've been very, very fortunate as far as getting shows right off the bat. We played like 1,000 cap room within a couple months of being in a band, you know. It's kind of unheard of, but
that's really cool. What type of bands would you say is more prevalent or more predominant in the scene in Boston?
I would say like, I don't know, like emo stuff, I guess. I've never listened to that. I don't know much about it, but like kind of emo rock, I guess.
Gotcha.
That's a lot of that stuff. I mean, Berkeley's here too, so there's a bunch of stuff going on, and it's, you know, I don't know.
So for you felt that living in Boston has been more conducive to you guys as a band and like the style of music that you guys play, as opposed to if you lived in a city like Boston New York City, where there's just a ton of fucking bands or people doing similar stuff.
You just get lost in the crowd, you know. It's like, how you gonna get good shows, you know, in New York City when you want to be local support for a band coming to town, but it's like, if you're not from there, you know, and don't have a lot of good connections, it's just, you get lost in the crowd, you know. Whereas Boston, we don't get lost in the crowd. You know, we have a good relationship with Bowery and Crossroads and stuff right off the bat for who get us, you know, really good shows, because when bands come to town that need local support, and they're all like, that sound kind of like us or whatever it might be, we're right up there with getting submitted, and we have been very, very lucky with getting really good shows.
That's awesome. And I did an interview with this band Lacing from Tennessee recently, and they're a shoegaze band. One of the things that we talked about was the resurgence of genres like shoegaze, dreampop, post-punk, new wave, and how they were dormant for some time, and now they've really started to surge. Why do you think some of these genres are seeing a resurgence now?
I think it's because kids who like emo music, like we were saying before, I'm not sure if I'm defining it the right way. I say emo music, I'm not sure what it is, but they are all into, you know, having boutique pedal boards now, and then like, oh shit, they realized My Bloody Valentine is cool, and now they'll kind of make stuff like that and incorporate it in their thing. Whereas before, I think My Bloody Valentine was like obviously not that scene at all, more just kind of weirdo shit. That's my take on it. I don't know. It's pedal boards, you know. I'm not sure if you do play guitar.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so people have, you know, want to get a nice pedal board and do the whole thing and make crazy noises, and they call it shoegaze. I don't know.
For you, what have been some albums or some bands that you've been listening to lately?
I don't even know. This band Corinne from Philly, they're fucking awesome. We're actually playing with them next week. I've been listening to them on repeat for for the last like 2 months. They're really, really good. They're like a 2-piece synth pop type of stuff. Really, really, really good.
You said it's Corinne?
Yeah, Corinne.
I haven't heard them before, so I got to check them out.
Yeah, Corinne with a K. We're actually we're doing they hit us up actually, or their label person hit us up and asked. I'm not sure if I can say this now. They're announcing pretty soon, but on their second press of their LP, we did a remix for them for one of their songs, along with some other people who did remixes. So that will be out soon. So it's pretty cool. I was very, very flattered when we got that text message because I was listening to it nonstop. And I was actually listening to it when he texted me. It's like, hey, you guys want to do a remix for the second pressing? And I was like, fuck yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. So I was really happy about that.
So you mentioned that show. Other than the show you've got coming up, any other stuff planned in the coming weeks or months for House of Harm?
We got a couple of shows. I think we have one. I think we have another one in February. I can't remember. I know we're playing with the KVB in March. They're a really cool band. And we're playing in Providence in April. But yeah, just playing shows, having fun, pretty much it. And like I said, we'll probably do a release by the springtime, just like a one song single, more of like a dancey type of song, ideally.
Nice, man. Fuck, any plans to head to New York anytime in the future?
Yeah, actually, we got an offer like last week. I'm still toying with it. New York's tough because I don't know, it's a big city and it's hard to get a good show. You know what I mean? Because like we were talking about before, for the same reasons, it's a huge fucking city. So it's easy to get a show, but no one's gonna go to it. And what I want to do with this band is play the right shows. You know, that's been very key since day one. You know, anyone can hit the road and go on tour and do the whole DIY basement thing, but it's like, if you're not playing to your demographic, there's no fucking point for me, you know. We put a lot of time and effort into these songs. We like them to be presented in that manner too, you know, with, you know, people who really want to hear it and stuff like that. Not that there's anything wrong with just kind of hitting the road and playing to people who don't know who your band is, but I don't know. For us, it's been a thing I think about a lot, and I don't want to just kind of do it just to do it, go through the motions and hit the road and play shows. I want to play good shows, you know, that'll make an impact and get real fans, you know.
Yeah. Oh my God. I definitely have been to shows where like there's a handful of people in there and I just feel terrible for the band.
Absolutely. You know, and it's like when you're hitting the road, it's like no one knows who the fuck we are. So it's like the bill has to be booked right. We're, you know, playing with a band that's like us and their audience will like us, and, you know, the whole thing. It's tough, you know.
Yeah, so where can people check out your music if they haven't listened to House of Harm before? Where can people stay up to date with what you're doing, what you guys are doing?
Our Instagram definitely is our best thing, where we post on that a lot. We don't really use Facebook or anything like that too much. We have a Twitter too, but personally in Cooper too, we both, Instagram is our main social media platform, I guess. So we just, since day one, we made one for the band. That's how we post. You know, that's like where you're gonna find out about the most stuff. And then listening wise, we're on Bandcamp and also on Spotify and maybe Apple Music.
Sweet. All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time, dude. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
And there you have it, folks. That's my conversation with Mike Rocheford. Super fun conversation. Like I said at the beginning, I love talking about tattoos. I love talking about music. So this was a really enjoyable conversation that I got to have with Mike. I thought it was interesting to hear Mike talk about the shows that he and the band are looking to do. I remember when I did my interview with Tyler Kershaw and we wound up talking about House of Harm after the fact. And he had said to me that one of the things that he was super impressed by was the fact that House of Harm had been around maybe not so long at that point, but had played some big shows and at some big venues. And I think you could credit that to Mike and to Cooper, you know, and how they go about picking the shows that they want to participate in. I don't blame him for wanting to just go and play any old frickin' show. As I mentioned, there's definitely been shows that I've gone to, and oh man, I've gone to shows with touring bands where they come to Rochester or Buffalo and there's only a few people that are there to see them, and it just sucks for them and I feel so bad, but I digress. I also want to say shout out to Mike for introducing me to Corinne. Since Mike and I talked and he had mentioned Corinne, I wound up listening to their LP New Arrangements, which came out in 2018. If you are into any type of like new wave, dark wave, synth stuff, do yourself a favor and go listen to Corinne if you have yet to. They are so goddamn good. Holy shit, their LP is awesome as hell. I hope I get to see them sometime because they're really great and I feel like their live set would be freaking phenomenal. Make sure to check out House of Harm. Listen to them if you haven't. Cop some of their merch if you can. If you have an opportunity to see them, definitely do that. I hope that House of Harm will come play in New York or upstate New York. I would love to see them. I haven't gotten that chance to yet, so hopefully in the near future I'll be able to see them play. Follow them on on Instagram and on social media so you can keep up with what the band is doing. And hey, follow the show if you can. I always appreciate it when people reach out to me and interact with me on Instagram. That's always cool. Speaking of, I recently made a post on Instagram. My wife was planning on joining me for the March 16th show in Brooklyn, the big Flenser showcase. So it's going to be Wreck and Reference, Elizabeth Color Wheel, Have a Nice Life, Planning for Burial, and Consumer. She can't make it with me now, so I don't want to sell the ticket. I'd rather just give it to someone. So if you're interested in copying a ticket and you weren't able to, because I'm pretty sure that show sold out, comment on the post I made on Instagram, and I'm going to pick someone probably like in the next week or so to mail that ticket to. I'd rather that ticket not go to waste. So if you'd like to cop a ticket, go ahead and comment on that Instagram post. So hopefully you could maybe wind up with a ticket. So anyway, as always, guys, you know the drill. Follow the show and then get out there, create something cool. I will see you all next time.